Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Another month, another monthly wrap up. Today we're going to be talking about the 16 books that I read in the month of November. So, as I said, in the month of November, I read 16 books. I had a few physical books, I had a few audiobooks, but we're gonna get into all of them. I would say the end of my month is where I got my best reads. I would say the entire month was full of some pretty good reads. I am very happy with all of the books that I picked up. However, at the end of the month, that's when we hit the higher ratings, the highest ratings, and a consistently high rating book. So let's get into it. Starting off the month, I started with Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I have been wanting to pick this up since June when it first came out. This follows Joan Goodwin, who is an astronaut for NASA. And she is a woman in the 1980s, and it just kind of follows her life before she becomes an astronaut, the process of her working with NASA, what she did to train, the mission she went on, and also follows a lot of the other astronauts that are in her little group of people who got hired up at the same time. It follows lighthearted times, it follows her heartbreaking times. It overall is just a beautiful story, and you're gonna get the most beautiful writing with Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love all of her books because of the way she describes things, the way she just puts you into those universes and absolutely makes these characters feel real. So I gave it 4.25, and I just absolutely had an amazing time reading it. And yeah, you're gonna need a tissue box if you pick this one up. Moving on, the next book that I picked up in the month of November was Unloved by Peyton Curran. This is the second book in the Undone series. It follows the first one, Unsteady. And this one follows our two main characters, Matt, or Freddie, and Ro. And Ro is the tutor of Freddie. We meet both of them in the first book because Ro is the best friend of our main girl character, Sadie, and Freddie is on the same hockey team as our male main character, Reese. And I honestly, when I was reading the first book, I loved these two characters. I was like, I don't need them as side characters. I need them as main characters. I need to know their story instantly because I just thought their connection was so cute and so wholesome. And as a college romance, I thought that everything about it was just beautiful. I thought all of the little storylines, the little plot lines we followed were so fun. And it follows, I think, similar timelines. Like this one starts kind of halfway through the first book, so you kind of get the progression from the outside view of the first one's relationship, so I thought that was really sweet too. And I overall just really liked this book. I flew through it, and yeah, 4 stars. Moving on to the first audiobook that I picked up this month, I read, or I guess I listened to, Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. This was my first ever Lauren Asher book. I've heard so many amazing things. So many people love the Lake Wisteria series. So many people love the Dreamland Billionaire series. So many people love the Dirty Air series. I have been wanting to pick up a Lauren Asher book because I've heard so many amazing things, and it did not disappoint. Love Redesigned is in the Lake Wisteria universe. It's the first book in the universe, and I believe there's 3 out now, so I've got some reading to catch up to. And it follows our main characters, Julian and Dahlia. They are childhood friends, or I guess they're families are childhood friends, so they're kind of forced into a friendship, and then they're kind of become rivals as they get older. He is a owner of a company that does a lot of construction. She is an interior designer. She's coming home to Lake Wisteria after a little bit of a nasty breakup for many layers of reasons, and they end up partnered on a building, and they kind of are just bantering back and forth. They don't like each other, they don't get along at all, but secretly they actually do like each other, and it's just really wholesome. It's really cute, it's really sweet. The character arcs, the character stories in and of themselves on their own, and then their relationship together, how they grow, is just so beautiful, and I really enjoyed it. I'm so excited to get into more Lauren Asher books. I'm currently reading My December Darling, which is her little Christmas novella. I think that I'm going to love the rest of the series, so I gave that one 4 stars. Now, at the same time as listening to that book, I was reading Babel by R.F. Huang. Very different vibes we've got going on between my regular book and my audiobook. So I read Babel by R.F. Huang finally. I have been wanting to pick up an R.F. Huang book forever. I've heard so many good things, and I've heard amazing things about Babel. Don't get me wrong, it was a adventure to read, and I honestly had an interesting time reading it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either. I think I went in with too high of expectations because I've heard so many people say so many amazing things, obsess over this, give it 5 stars. So I went in with really high expectations, and I think if I had went in with like lower expectations, I might have enjoyed it a little bit better, or honestly just understood what it was going to be about a little bit more. Then maybe I would have known it probably wasn't going to be one of my like absolute obsess over books, just because it's not my usual genre. It's not what I usually gravitate towards. It's not what I usually rate higher. So that's not the book's fault. That's my fault. And I still give it a 3 stars because there were a lot of components of it, like her writing. Her writing is absolutely outstanding. Literally, like, she was meant to be an author because this was so critically written, and I just absolutely absorbed it. So there were so many aspects of it that I loved. The character development was beautifully written. The storyline itself was so meticulously plotted out, and I thought that was so well done. But there was also parts of it that I didn't like. I didn't connect to any of those characters. I thought that the storyline dragged a little bit. It was so well thought out that there was just almost too much detail for my brain. I know I always say that I love a very detailed book. I love a very like detail heavy book, but this was almost like just that slight bit over too much detail, if that makes sense. Just a personal preference again. I definitely recommend that if you are looking to check out R.F. Huang's book, definitely look at the synopsis of this. Definitely give it a try because it could be for you. Still, I see so many people give it a 5 stars. Just because it wasn't one of my favorite books that I've read this month or ever, it doesn't mean it's not going to be one of your favorites. And I'm definitely going to give other R.F. Huang books a try because I know I liked her writing. It's just the plotline of this one probably wasn't going to be one of my favorite books, and that's okay. After that, I picked up the Matthew Perry memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. And I have wanted to pick up this memoir for a very long time, basically since it came out, because I loved the show Friends. I honestly, reading the memoir made me want to go back and rewatch the TV show. I knew it was going to be a tough read because of obviously everyone knows his story from the media and him talking about his own story. I knew it was going to be tough, but I listened to it as an audiobook, and I think that listening to memoirs that are narrated by the person who wrote the memoir is so powerful. I think that it adds such a personal twist to the dialogue that is being said, and it just made it even more of like a heartbreaking experience. He had a life that was very troubled, very hard, very raw, very much the raw human experience. And he really just wanted to present the fact that he was like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is what happened in my life. This is how I got through it. This is what I did to get through it. And also, life is not perfect. Life is not like, we do not need to put on these rose-colored glasses. Yes, he was successful. Yes, he made all this money off of Friends and all of these other movies and all of these projects that he was working on as this big actor. But he still had such raw human struggles, and I think it was so beautifully displayed through his writing. I think through his book, you saw how much he cared, how much he loved everyone around him, and how much he protected everyone around him. And it just made it so much more sad that he was struggling with things on his own because he put so many other people before himself, their well-being before himself, and he always wanted to make sure everyone else was okay. Even when he was being like a sponsor to other people, he always wanted to make sure that they would never relapse, but he never put that own care and consideration into himself. And it was so heartbreaking to read about, but he also had such a beautiful story of the love he shared with his castmates, with his friends, with his family in different regards, and the family he made along the way. And I just think it was so beautiful. So I'm obviously not going to rate it because I personally don't rate memoirs. I don't think that it's like appropriate to be like rating someone's story, but I just think it was absolutely beautifully written. While I was listening to that, I was reading The Gingerbread Bakery by Laurie Gilmore. This is the 5th book in the Dream Harbor series, and I have loved every single one of these. I picked them up, and I picked them up because I know they're going to give me all of the seasonal atmospheric vibes that I'm looking for. And this one follows Mac and Annie. I have been waiting for Mac and Annie's story since the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I love a little rivals to lovers, enemies to lovers, that, and give me that any day of the week and I will eat it up. So I have been waiting for their story. It's been teased through the last 5 books and I just knew it was going to deliver so well. I just did not expect it to be a second chance. It follows a then and now timeline, so you get the timeline of their then and how they kind of became more than strangers to friends to a little something more, the conflict that occurs that they get separated, and then their now timeline as they kind of do not like each other, because we get in all the other books that they do not like each other at all, and we never know why. We don't know why they hate each other. We just assume it's always been like a little childhood rivalry, so we get the background of that and we get their progression into that more again, and it was just so sweetly written. I think it was so adorable and I loved it. So I gave it 4 stars and absolutely ate it up. I literally finished it in like a day. I finished these so quickly. They're so sweet. They're super short little romances, perfect for the holiday season. I feel like it's a pattern by now throughout my monthly little wrap-ups that it's pretty obvious that I kind of have like one audiobook and one regular like physical book on the go at the same time all at once, because I kind of just saying at the same time as this, at the same time as this. But the next audiobook I started after the Matthew Perry memoir was Arcana Academy, or Arcana Academy. I'm really not sure how to pronounce that, but I really enjoyed this one. I've heard a lot of people talking about it recently, and I decided to pick it up myself because I saw a review saying that it was about tarot cards, and I was like, that's really interesting. I love a good tarot card magic system. So I was interested in picking it up. I really did enjoy it. I thought that the magic system was so fun. The little academy was so fun. The plot we were following was really interesting. I just really liked our main character and our main male character. I thought they were both mysterious. They were both fun to read about, and I just really enjoyed it. I don't really have much to say because I kind of just listened to it, loved it, and no other complaints. So I gave that one 4 stars, and I'm excited to see where we go in the second one. While I was listening to that on audio, I was reading Holly by Adeline Grace, and I just absolutely loved it. I was so excited to be back in the Belladonna universe. The Belladonna trilogy was a trilogy that I read last summer, and I absolutely flew through it. I read 1 and 2 kind of by accident. I found them right before the 3rd one was coming out, so I just read them back to back to back to back. That, could not recommend that enough. It was such an immersive experience. It was so beautiful, and I've been counting down the days till I could pick this one up because I was just so excited to be back in the world, and especially at Christmas time. I think that's so fun. It was so well written. The little plot we were following, the little mysteries we were following were so cute. It was so nice to be back into the mysteries of this universe. I loved it, and everything about it, it was so fast-paced, so quick, and it was just the perfect holiday read. So this one was a 4.5 star. Directly after that, I picked up a little Christmas short story within this. The glare is so bad, but this is basically just a little book that I found at HomeSense that has a bunch of little Christmas stories in it. So I have always watched A Christmas Carol movie in different variations. I mean, Barbie: A Christmas Carol literally was my childhood. I love that Christmas movie, but A Christmas Carol is a movie that I've watched a ton of different variations of and loved every single one. I love the little storyline of all the like Christmas of the past, present, and future. I think that's so cute. So I've never actually read the classic that it's based off of, and I was like, I think this year is finally my year. So I really quickly just sat down, read it, and it was just as beautiful as the movie. It honestly follows pretty much the exact same timeline. They basically follow it plot for plot, so it was amazing. 5 stars. Absolutely loved it up. Every second of it. I love Christmas. Christmas is like my favorite time of the year ever. I know I've said that in like 1,000 videos. I've said that all over my Bookstagram. I love Christmas, so it was just everything and more. I loved it. After that, while I was still listening to my audiobook of Arcana Academy, I picked up a quick little arc on NetGalley, and it was called Running from Guilt, and I thought it was an interesting read. I am still deciding whether it was between a 2.5 and a 3 star. I can't really decide, but I don't really think it was for me. The writing itself was beautiful. I think the author did an amazing job. I think the author has a beautiful writing style, but the plot was not for me. I don't know, when I read the synopsis I thought it would be, but then when I actually like got into the meat of the story, I really just wasn't a fan. After that, going on our Christmas train, we've got Holiday Ever After by Hannah Grace. Another book that I have been wanting to pick up since it was announced. I was so excited for this one, and it was so good. It was so good. I love a good little Christmas romance, and this one is what I would describe as the Hallmark version of a book. And I mean that in the best possible sense of the way that a Hallmark movie could be. It feels like a small town Christmas. It feels like a small town romance that could be made into a movie. The plot that we are following feels like the plot of a movie that I'm watching on the Hallmark Channel in the best possible way. The next 2 books I'm going to talk about them at the same time because they're in the same series and they're the end of the same series. And that is The Twisted Throne and The Tempest Blade, which was an audiobook that I listened to because the actual paperback doesn't come out until April, but the audiobook is on Audible. And this one is the last kind of duology within the Bridge Kingdom series, and it is following Anna and James, and I love their story. The Twisted Throne was honestly one of my favorite books out of the series. I loved it. I gave it 4.5 star, and I just thought that their dynamic was so interesting. I obviously read the synopsis on the back, but I don't know if I didn't clock it or something, but I was like, oh, this is who James is? I was just so shocked. It probably wasn't shocking at all. I actually need to reread the synopsis on the back to see if I should have just realized that, but I don't know. I loved it. I thought the storyline we were following was so fun. I love being back in the world of the Bridge Kingdom and all of the little communities within it, seeing all of these new characters, seeing all of the new drama. I think that she has such a quick way of writing. I don't know. I love a fast-paced fantasy. I think that they're perfect. I loved everything about the Bridge Kingdom series, and it gets better and better every time. And then I listened to The Tempest Blade, which is the final book in the Bridge Kingdom series, and I loved it. I was not expecting to get a ton of different POVs in this book, and I thought it was so interesting how we kind of wrapped up the timeline of each of the couples all in one book. I really thought that was an interesting way to go about it, and I really enjoyed that one too. I think I would give it a 4 stars just because it was the end of the series. It all wrapped up well, but it also did drag on just the tiniest little bit. I think, I don't have the paperback, but I think it's the longest book in the series, so it did feel a little bit long, but I still loved everything about it, and I think it was great and such an amazing series to pick up. I loved the Bridge Kingdom series. Next up, I picked up The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year, and I absolutely love this book. If you hear me screaming about this book from the top of my lungs, it's because Miss Allie Carter delivered with this one. I'm realizing that I just love a little mystery that takes place, where this person asks for these people to be sent out, and it's usually writers, and I eat it up every single time. I mean, Great Big Beautiful Life was one of my favorite books ever this year, and I just am realizing that I love this plotline. But this follows Maggie and Ethan, who are going to this London estate in the middle of Christmas time, and there's a reason why Maggie and Ethan don't like each other, and we kind of figure that out as the book goes along. But they are going to the state of Eleanor Ashley, which is Maggie's favorite like crime thriller writer, and she's written 99 novels, and she's in the middle of her 100th novel, Eleanor Ashley. These two are both crime comedy like thriller writers as well, and it just is so fun. It like follows a little mystery once they get to the manor of Eleanor Ashley. There's lots of people involved. They're just following all these clues to figure it out in the end, and I just thought that the mystery coziness of this book, while also adding so many Christmas elements to it, was perfect. I thought it was hilarious. Anyone who describes this as like a rom-com meets Knives Out is absolutely true. I love this book. I would literally read more of this couple. Like, we need another one. Maybe another Christmas one, maybe not another Christmas one. I don't know. I just want to read more mysteries about these two people because they were iconic. These two characters, hilarious. Loved it. And it wrapped up perfectly. Absolutely loved the way it wrapped up too. I finished this. I forgot to mention that. That's the best part. I finished this in 4 hours. I just flew through it. It was so quick. Really short chapters. If you're someone who loves really short chapters, it's really short chapters. So I highly recommend. The last two books that I ended off my November reading, which when I tell you I was sat for these books. I finished the first one within 2 sittings, and I finished the second one which within like 3 sittings technically. I mean, I read 15 pages in one of those sittings before I went to bed, but I absolutely ate these up. And I have been getting recommended to read this series for so long. Everyone and their mother has recommended this series to me, and I've been so scared because I've wanted to love it, and I knew I was going to love it. I knew I would because of the fact that so many people do, and so many people who have the same reading taste as me have rated them like so many stars. And also, not to mention that I've literally watched so many TikTok edits of the TV show. It's like just like all over my For You page all the time. I've never read the books. Why am I like crying over these edits? But I'm obsessed with them. Anyways, I finally picked up, I'm sure you already know what I'm talking about, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I love a good heist. I love a good little plot twist. I love a fantasy. Everything about this book was absolutely perfect. The little group dynamics were hilarious. I loved every single character for their own reason. Wylan and Jesper, though, they have my heart because they are the funniest people ever. Wylan especially, he's just so like delusional. He's just living life. He's just there for the vibes, and I absolutely love that. And then, of course, I picked up Crooked Kingdom, which I had to wait a day because I was waiting for it to ship to my house. So that was absolute torture. But I picked it up, and it follows directly where we leave off in Six of Crows. And I can't get too much into it because of the fact that it's a continuation of a duology that would obviously be giving away some spoilers. But everything about this book was equally amazing. I thought that all of the character development throughout the first book, and then we continued to develop into the second book, was perfect. I loved all the new little characters we got little point of views from, and not literal point of views because we still follow the same 6 point of views, but all of the like points of views in terms of like stories they're bringing to those characters were so interesting and so immersive to the storyline. I thought that the way that Leigh Bardugo outlined how she wanted the tasks to be settled out and all the little plot twists that you had going on were perfect. I thought it was so cute. And then the last 5 chapters absolutely mentally destroyed me. They destroyed me. I was sobbing my eyes out, and by the end I was like, what do you mean we're over? Like, what do you mean we're over? I need 16 more of these books because I think it's my new Roman Empire. Absolutely everyone who said I was going to love these books was right. And I'm also sending them my therapy bills because those last 5 chapters destroyed me. I rated Six of Crows 5 stars because nothing beats the OG. Nothing beats the original. I loved this book. I love a good heist. I love a good little heist book. And then I rated Crooked Kingdom 4.5 stars because I equally love this, but the middle did drag a little, just the tiniest little bit. I was so used to the same pacing, and then the middle of this one just kind of let down a little bit. Meanwhile, I did read this while I had a really bad fever, but still, the pacing did drag a little bit. So I still rated it a 4.5 stars, but overall, the series is a 5-star series. Maybe even 6 stars, dare I say. But I loved it. And new personality unlocked. Please go read this. Please. So those were the 16 books that I picked up in the month of December. Absolutely no notes on the month. I loved every single one of the books that I picked up, and I am a mood reader to my core. So the other 3 books on my TBR didn't exactly get picked up, but they'll get picked up eventually, and I'm sure I'm gonna love them. And every book that I did pick up based on my mood this month, I loved. So we're just going to continue on that little train of mood reading and see where December takes us. Hopefully to finishing our December TBR, but we'll see at the end. So I hope you all had the most beautiful month of reading in November and are going into the most beautiful month of reading in December. And thank you again for sticking around. Love you. Bye.